Is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Thursday night. We do have a lot to get to. The Supreme Court and that blow to President Trump. He is responding tonight. That tropical storm just named, warnings just up in the east. But we are going to begin with the coronavirus because this is a worsening situation with cases now rising in 36 states, 10 states seeing record hospitalizations. And take a look at this graph tonight we took note of from the New York Times. The steep increase in cases since reopening. Florida up 1,300% in a matter of weeks. Arizona up 858% in cases. South Carolina up 999%. Texas 680%. Georgia up 245%. Many of these states opening early, some skipping the guidance, the steps from the president's own team. And the numbers tonight, more than 3 million confirmed cases in the U.S. Nearly 133,000 lives have now been lost. Nearly 900 more lives lost in just the past 24 hours. Florida's hospitals tonight under stress, and you're going to hear from the nurses now describing loved ones dying alone. In Arizona, 1 in 3 people being tested are testing positive. And look at this line. It formed overnight at midnight. Families in their cars waiting for hours just for a test. The mayor of Phoenix saying, we're in a crisis, we need more resources. And the governor of Arizona, who has not addressed the public in more than a week now in that hard-hit state, speaking just moments ago. And so we begin with Matt Gutman leading us off.
Tonight, in car after car, the nation's COVID testing crisis on full display in Phoenix. A public health failure stretching as far as the horizon. Moments ago, Arizona's governor saying,
I also want to emphasize that you are safer at home at this time.
3 generations of Kiana Cole's family parked in that line before 1 a.m.
Is it worth spending a night in a car with an 80-year-old? Yes?
I say yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's our lives, you know, and the lives of our families that we have to protect.
People started lining up here before 1 a.m., and there's a reason for that. This testing site does not require insurance or an appointment, which is why this line already goes down for miles as far as the eye can see.
And those numbers, the Sunbelt states that may have reopened too quickly, Arizona, Texas, and Florida. This graph by the New York Times showing a jaw-dropping nearly 1,400% increase in average daily COVID cases in Florida compared to when the state reopened about 2 months ago. Dr. Anthony Fauci warning states with severe outbreaks should seriously look at shutting down, telling 538's Podcast 19 that some open too fast.
Despite the guidelines and the recommendations to open up carefully and prudently, some states skipped over those and just opened up too quickly. Certainly Florida, I think jumped over a couple of checkpoints.
More than a quarter of everyone tested in Miami-Dade testing positive. ICU beds are scarce and patients are dying alone.
One of the worst feelings of being there is seeing these patients fight for their lives and not having their families near them.
In Jacksonville, residents and business owners now suing to block the Republican National Convention from coming to the city next month. 10 states setting records for hospitalizations. South Carolina's Tylen's hospitals inundated.
We're at the maximum we can do. No beds in the ICU, no beds in the hospital.
Last night we showed you video shot by the Associated Press. Medical staff at a Houston hospital trying to pump life back into this COVID patient's ravaged lungs. But they lost her. The woman's daughter says her mother got sick last month, about a week after her husband's funeral. She said many didn't wear masks. Late today, President Trump falsely claiming,
we have among the lowest mortality rate anywhere in the world.
But Dr. Fauci presenting a different reality than the president.
But as a country, when you compare us to other countries, I don't think you can say we're doing great. I mean, we're just not.
All right, so let's get to Matt Gutman. He's with us live from Phoenix again tonight. Matt, we can see the cars, the tents there for that testing site behind you. Of course, hundreds lining up, and officials say it's not only the tests that they're waiting hours for, but that many people then have to wait more than a week for test results, which experts say presents another major problem here.
David, testing is the only way that epidemiologists can get an accurate snapshot of what's really happening. But doctors are telling us the system is collapsing. Now, David administers well over 1,000 tests here today, but there are hundreds of people who won't make the cutoff. That means they and the folks are going to have to wait, as you mentioned, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks for results, are going to go back to their communities, possibly spreading the virus. David.
All right, Matt Gutman. Matt, I know you're going to stay on this. The president not seeing eye to eye with his top doctors on the virus. He's also fuming to